Hello, my name is Kai, and I am a bit of a rambler. I like to travel, learn, and tell stories. Welcome back to a little bonus episode of Ramble On, where I talk about what went on in my life this week. Well, I'm in a new neighborhood. My transition location between Guatemala City and Shela, also known as Quetzaltenango, but that name's too long, so everybody just says Shela. Shela is 3,000 feet higher than Guatemala City, which is already the height of Denver. So I'm pretty excited to go get some slight altitude sickness and run around some mountains. All of the mountains in Shela are way closer to the city than the mountains near Guatemala City. So I'm pretty excited to go because I should be able to just walk out of the city for several hours and hike some peaks. And those are going to be some tall peaks. Also at 8,000 feet, it's going to be pretty chilly. So I'm kind of looking forward to some colder weather. And rainy season starts this month. It finally started to rain just a bit with regularity this week. And I'm kind of curious because it's a drastic increase in Guatemala. It's like 5 to 10 millimeters in January and February, 20 millimeters in March, about 40, 50 millimeters in April, and then 160 millimeters in May. So I'm about to see 300, or I should be seeing 300% increase in rainfall this month. And next month it's even more, but not such a drastic increase. But I wouldn't mind some more rain. And it has been much more cloudy this week and gray, which is nice because it was getting a little warm for me in Guatemala. Guatemala City, anyway. But that will quickly be remedied in 12 hours or so, as soon as I jump a couple thousand feet in elevation. A few thousand feet. Really excited to see how I feel at 8,000 feet elevation. I've never permanently lived, I don't think I've spent that much time before at that elevation. Yeah, that might actually be the highest I've ever been. In Denver, I drove to other towns that were a couple hundred feet up, but that's still sub 6,000 feet, and this is going to be nearly 8,000 without climbing any mountains. I didn't even check how tall the mountains are. The place I rented in Shela next to this mountain called Baul, I just checked that. That's already 8,650 feet. And the mountain right next to the town, Almalonga, is 10,500 feet. So I don't even think I can climb something that high without some kind of winter gear. I don't know. I'll walk around. I'm very excited to go now. It should be fun. I mean, I was already excited to go, but now I know that I might get frostbite or hypothermia. Plus rainfall. Whoa, okay, I just checked. I'm glad I'm going tomorrow. There's 2 more cloudy days, and then it's apparently thunderstormy for the next 2 weeks after that. I might get my fill of rainfall. You know what? I don't even have an umbrella anymore. Oh, I don't even have any shoes I don't have any boots or anything. I just have my boat shoes, which don't block water at all, and then my slippers that I made myself, my huaraches, or in Quetzaltenango in Guatemala, my chancletas, which are just like simple sandals. Whatever, I'll figure it out. Oh, dang. You know how Guatemala City was like 200 or 180 millimeters of rain or whatever? Shela in May is actually the highest month of the year and is 550. So I'm going from 50 to 550. Whoa, that is even more. That's going to be a lot. That's in 1 month. That's more rain in 1 month, the month I'm arriving, than most countries get in a full year. That's 20 inches of rain in a month. That's almost an inch of rain a day. All right, I'm into it. I was just talking about how I missed the rainy weather and how I was looking forward to it, and I am gonna get my fill. Probably just have to stay inside playing video games all the time. Still working on Ghost of Tsushima. I'm like 30% in. I finished Act 1, I think. That's a big game. Pretty fun so far. I marked all the places in Shela in Guatemala that I can climb, all the volcanoes around there, and I don't know which ones are active, but I'll check that before I start walking in that direction. But honestly, with 550 millimeters of precipitation, I really don't know if I'll be able to climb anything out there. But I can take a couple of cool videos, I can pretend I climbed them and tell you, you won't know any difference. No, I'll definitely, at least Baul, I'll 100% climb Baul. If they have guide ropes to hang on to during the rainy season, geez, they might actually close the trails. That much rain. Oh, I'm so excited to see this. And I'm very glad that I'm taking the bus tomorrow instead of in a couple days when the rain is supposed to start. That much rain should make a significant difference in the amount of vegetation, but also it's 3,000 feet higher. It's 1,000 meters higher, so everything's going to be different. Oh, I'm so curious what this is going to be like. Because it's the second largest city in Guatemala, so it can't be, a terrible place to live. Although everyone in Guatemala City I know says that they won't live in Shela because it's too cold. They all lived there for 3 months or 6 months or a couple of years. All the taxi drivers I talked to and the people I've met here. But none of them want to keep living there. Everyone in Guatemala City is like, nope, couldn't keep living there, too cold. But no one mentioned the insane amount of rain that's going to be there. But I can handle a few weeks of that. Where am I going to go next? I'm thinking of Panama, Mexico City, or Costa Rica. Someplace safe. I was into Ecuador, like I mentioned, but those express kidnapping, not crime rate so much, which doesn't really bother me, but the violent crime rate, like the straight up violence attacking people, seems to have sharply increased in the last few years. And I'm right next to Panama, and it would just be cool to see the Panama Canal. I don't know. I'll tell you next week. I'll probably have an idea or decision by then. Or not. It'll probably be 2 weeks from now. But maybe. Who knows? What are you doing when you're not playing Ghost of Tsushima, Kai? Well, I am pickling. I've been pickling onions. Pickled onions are the best vegetable right now that I love the most to pickle. I've been eating them every day, pickling them every few days, and just crunching them up. I've been actually beering it up this week because I've been rewatching some shows. So a lot of Corona with lime juice and lime peels inside. A lot of Firefly, Infinity Train, Tucker and Dale vs. Evil, Samurai Champloo. Over the Garden Wall, started that again. Kino no Tabi, finally finished the rewatch. I'm on the third light novel of Kino, which I really like. They captured the books really well in the TV show, and now I kind of want to watch the new TV show again. Did I mention Firefly? That's been a trip to start rewatching again. It might have finally been long enough where I can rewatch it and enjoy it. I watched that so many times. I just couldn't watch it again for a decade or something because I remembered everything. That's not fun. But I was checking out the first episode again, and while I did still remember everything, it was still fresh enough, and I haven't read any of the comics recently also. So I think I'm going to watch the show, maybe the movie, and then definitely check out the comics again and see what new comics have been published since the last time I read them. I've been reading a lot of comics lately. Pretty interested in Brian Michael Bendis' autobiographical comics, one where he tried to make a movie, or was rather offered by Hollywood, let's make a movie together, and then they, it didn't go through. And then this other failed tale of Broadway where he was supposed to write Spider-Man the Musical, and that somehow fell through also, but I just started it. So I don't know what happens yet. But it's really fun to get back into comics again. It's been a while. Oh, and I just rewatched Hannah, which is like my favorite movie, and I always think of naming my daughter after Hannah when I have one. Or Saoirse, right? Isn't Saoirse such a cool name? Name of the actress who plays Hannah in the movie. But then I was like, you know what? The show's over. It's complete. The TV show that they made, it's kind of a reboot. So I tried to watch it, but the first 30 minutes were so bad compared to the movie that I couldn't even finish it. If anybody has seen Hannah the TV show and liked it, gently encourage me without any spoilers or I will bite my thumb at you to complete the show, because the introduction of the show is absurd, and I get they want to do stuff different, but none of the choices they are making seem like Hannah at all. I'm wondering if maybe they're just introducing the character and they're going to make her cool later, but that's not the point of Hannah. I will finish the first episode, but boy, that first half hour was not entertaining or interesting and did a lot to make the characters who I love in the movie people to ignore and criticize in the show. Everyone. I like all of the characters significantly less so far. Oh yeah, and pickling. So I've been pickling, and then the onions go on nachos and tamales and just a jar of them to eat while I watch these shows or read something. Pickled onions. I mean, I feel like that was a stand-up comedy punchline a lot, but boy. I just made some tonight, actually. Red onions, too. I'm into pickled red onions now. Those are the jam. You know, there haven't been any holidays for the first time since I've been in Guatemala City in this new place I'm at. And I don't know if it's because I'm in a different neighborhood that doesn't, allow for large gatherings like the old one I was in for a few months, or because the months I spent in, overlapping holidays in that other neighborhood have finally ended, just in time for me to move on, and maybe ended just in time for the rainy season, which would flood everybody out. Wait a minute. Okay, I just looked up Flagstaff. Shella has 20 inches of rain, 550 milliliters. Flagstaff, Arizona, only has 5 inches of rain? And I watched the floods literally carry cars down the road. All right, I'll let you know what this is like if there's anything left of me after this trip. Good gosh. That's a crazy amount of rain. And I looked it up, and there's a few paragraphs about the rainiest month in Shella, which is May, and they're all like, an explosion of precipitation of rainfall. So I'm in for it. I better hike, the first day I get there. Might be late afternoon, so okay, I'll definitely try and get out the second, because I don't know if I'll even be able to go outside the whole rest of the month. Maybe that is why the holidays have ceased. It's just too rainy for partying in the streets these days. At least I'm kind of in the middle of the city, so I'm not going to fall off in a mudslide or something. Although I am right next to a giant mountain, so hopefully that doesn't mudslide onto my neighborhood. Just some cheery thoughts. I'll say this new spot in Zone 11 versus Zone 1 Misco, though, I'm in Misco Norte now, is nicer because there are no karaoke and there's no dogs barking literally all night. Sometimes I couldn't record this because there were dogs barking until 3 a.m. or people singing until 3 a.m. Not karaoke. They pretty much always ended that around 10:30, 11. But sometimes some drunk guys would get together in the alley behind my window and hang out there for a while. And rarely too long, but one time it happened till 3:30 a.m. before I could start recording anything. Which is too long, folks. Too long to drunkenly yell at each other while you're next to a residence. That's it this week. I'm just into finding out what the rainy season is like in the rainiest land of them all. Wow, I just checked top cities, and there aren't a lot over 3,000 millimeters per year. And Quetzaltenango's at 3,300. So this really is going to be a doozy. Good thing I love rain. Otherwise, this would be an unwelcome development. Instead, this is when I landed in Guatemala and checked the map, and there were 40 volcanoes. And I was like, oh, great. Volcanoes are cool. I like volcanoes. I just found out I'm going to one of the rainiest cities in the world, really. There aren't a lot on this list that are over 3,000. There is one that's almost 12,000 in Colombia, which is crazy. That just must be flooded all the time. Or maybe that's like Hilo in Hawaii. It's just like the top of a mountain that catches every cloud that goes by it, and it's a constant rainforest. Do I sound nervous? I'm not nervous. It's fine. Oh, before I forget, I also watched The Mole Undercover in North Korea, which is a real-life documentary. This guy was, it seemingly, randomly interested in infiltrating the Danish Friendship Association with North Korea and contacted this documentarian who's known for sensationalism, self-admittedly Mads Brugger. And it just keeps growing and growing until this guy straight up infiltrated North Korean weapons deals and like high-level officials in the government by pretending he needed weapons to buy from North Korea, which, if you don't know, is internationally illegal. Like, that's the country you don't do deals with. And they build a whole weapons base and everything. I would recommend checking this documentary out. It's just called The Mole, Undercover in North Korea, by Mads Brugger. That was a truly shocking documentary. I'm going to watch The Black Swan next, because now I'm really interested in what this guy makes. It is so much fun remembering all of these stories when I'm traveling and finding old journal entries and making these podcasts, because some of the stories I get to tell are still some of my funniest memories ever. I just remembered that I had roommates for like 4 months, 6 months, something like that, because I just wanted to try what it was like. And those people were wackadoo. But I got some really funny stories living with them, and it was an experience living in the middle of Beijing. So I'm going to share a few of those stories, and the first one's about popcorn, and I might change the order just so I can get the popcorn one out sooner. But yeah, it's so much fun remembering and telling these stories again. Oh, I just rewatched Scott Pilgrim, which is the best comic film adaptation ever. It's so funny. And I don't know if I mentioned this, I'll mention it in the Guatemala episode, but it's really cool here that something can be completely closed and locked, but if the cool little lantern or lamp above the door is on, then it's totally cool to knock on the door and they'll answer and serve you just like as if the door was open or everything was open. But usually, for the first month I was here, if something was closed, I just didn't go there because I thought they were closed once the door closed. But that's not how businesses work here. They're open and then they close at 5, but if the lamp is still on, you just knock on the door and then they'll keep doing business. Oh, and talking about awesome stuff, I remembered when I first bought a tamale, it tasted like artichoke, like they had mixed artichoke in, and I was like, that is such a perfect flavor to be mixed into the maize dough. And then I realized that it wasn't artichoke. When I steamed the tamale, the banana leaf it was wrapped in was infusing the dough with the flavor of banana leaf, which I guess to me tastes very similar to artichokes. Thank you for listening to me ramble on. If you want to talk about your rainy adventures, I am bitofarambler@gmail.com or all the socials, and I'll catch you on the flip-flops.